appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I know that some of your colleagues did not make it. They were guesses as to how late they were out on 4th Street, so thank you for those of you who did take the time to come in here this morning. I mean, what's at stake is significant, and you all are aware of that. I mean, there's more and more demand. I had several conversations with some of you as I was coming up here. There's more and more need in your counties and fewer dollars to cover those needs. And it's not just at the county level. Same thing is happening at the state level as well. The biennial budget that we're about to enter into, it's only 11 cents of the dollar that's actually discretionary, up for grabs. Essentially 89% of it's already spoken for. Increasingly, amounts of the state budget are being spoken for through debt service, obligations for pensions, the very same things that you all are wrestling with as judge executives, as magistrates, as the other county officials. So the question is, how are we going to cover the needs that we have with the limited dollars that we have? This is the issue. I would love to tell you, we had this conversation with several of you, that there's a magic answer somehow and that money's going to come. Jobs don't just come. They don't. You know that. You've built industrial parks in a lot of your counties. They're empty. There's more grass in the parking lot than cars. And that's unfortunate. It isn't for lack of desire. It isn't lack of intention. It isn't a lack of dollars that have been spent. I grew up in a very rural environment. I grew up below the poverty level in a community where the jobs were being suffocated even as I was a kid, slowly but surely by the EPA. They weren't coal jobs, they were paper jobs. And the paper mills were run out. And ultimately they were gone. In a lot of these vibrant towns and these communities, the county I grew up in was always the poorest county in the state, but it's even more so now. And it's shuttered up. And I've seen the future and what it looks like, and it doesn't look good. It really doesn't. And I don't say this to be negative. I'm just saying we have to be realistic and understand we are going to have some difficult times. We really are. They ended up ending in a prison, and that wasn't the solution. They've looked at waste dumps and those, and this is not what you need and want for your communities. So the answer is, what are we going to do? Now, it's literally, we just had this exact specific conversation. It isn't to squeeze more and more from fewer and fewer people. It's not. We are going to have to broaden the economic platform in this state. We need more people paying less. And for many years, let's be honest, when coal was strong, when coal was thriving, for many years, many of the other counties in the state rode the back of the financial success of the coal counties. In some measure, the future is going to have to look the other way around. It just is. Which means we need a strong economy in counties like this one. And while I don't stand before you making any promises, because we can't afford to make promises. Simple as that. I'm a business guy. I've never been an elected official. If you want a career politician, you have that option. That's a choice you have in this race. But I'm telling you, I don't think that doubling down on the kind of policies that we've been following is serving us well. If you feel differently and think differently, literally that's the beauty of America. You can vote however you want. It really is. I mean, we have free choice. I grew up in a big family. I was able to go to college. I was fortunate for that. I had to pay my own way through school. I went to school in Virginia, Washington and Lee University, graduated, went into the military. I spent a number of years on active duty as an Army officer. There's guys that I served with that are dead, whose kids are growing up without a dad. There's a lot of sacrifice that's been made by a lot of people. People you know, people in your communities, people in this state, people in this country, to give us the ability to vote freely. All I ask of you is please, out of respect for the legacy of those that have given us this opportunity, make an informed decision. I'll be very frank with you, I've never been a big fan of wearing buttons or bumper stickers or anything of that kind. But I wore this on purpose. This was given to me the other day. I was a keynote speaker at KMI. They had a gathering of members and their families. And they gave this to me, and I wore this today again, not to be gratuitous, but to tell you, this isn't just a button. It either means something or it doesn't. It's easy when people are running for office to tell you they're a friend of coal. Look at the entire background of somebody. I'm not here to take shots at Jack, but I'll tell you, when he was running for office in this county, and didn't worry about what folks in your counties thought, he was a big proponent of cap and trade. The Sierra Club loved him, has given him thousands and thousands of dollars. They've never given a cent to me. And he'll stand here when I'm done and he'll tell you differently. Look at the facts, please. Be informed, that's all. Be informed when you go into the ballot box. I'm a business guy, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm raising 9 kids, I have a large family, I have reasons to care about the future of this state. We had 5 children, we adopted 4 additional children. I want them to have opportunity here in Kentucky. It's the same thing you want for your children and your grandchildren. It's the same thing you want for your communities, for your counties. It can happen. It's not going to happen quickly. The reality is the severance dollars, as you know, are declining. If you want any kind of reversal for what's been happening to the coal industry, we need a governor that will truly fight them, not just in word, not just when there's a headline to be made, not just when it's a lawsuit that we know isn't going to go anywhere. We need people to fight MSHA, for crying out loud. Fight the overreach by the EPA in ways that actually affect us on the ground. We are sticking it to ourselves with our own dollars. We are being bribed with federal dollars, and we're being asked to do things to ourselves as a state that are not in our best interest. I'm telling you right now, the 10th Amendment affords us an extraordinary amount of sovereignty and autonomy as a state. That the powers not specifically given to the federal government are the responsibilities of the states and of the people. And I'm a governor, if you elect me, who will absolutely take that to heart and will govern accordingly. It's your choice. I'm a business guy. I own all or part of 10 different companies. This is what I do. I employ people. I create jobs. I'm the only one in this race that has ever created a job in the private sector that you didn't pay for. That's a fact. This matters. Talk is cheap. It's easy to say you're for this or you're for that. But look at the track record. Look what people have done. It's important when you look at these dollars too. Again, just being very blunt, the severance dollars, as you know, are declining overall. In a couple of counties, I was talking to some folks from Union County, it's changed a smidge. It's trended a little in the other direction. It's been 100 years since the West produced more coal than the East, and now we're back to that again, certainly in terms of the top producing counties. That's unfortunate because that doesn't bode well for the industry. But if we continue to move forward with the conversion of the plants that we have, we're not going to see that restart at any time, probably in most of our lifetimes. So we need somebody to stand firm, not just to be a friend of coal in writing or when running for office, but to truly fight for things. Look at the story of my life. I grew up in poverty. I've been blessed. I've lived the American dream. I've fought my entire life. The pledge that I can make to you, even though we're broke as a state, I will fight for your counties and I will fight for this state like I would fight for my own children. And I will defend your interests and I will defend the interest of this state over that of the EPA, for example, like I defended this nation when I wore her uniform. That is a pledge I'll make because that's a pledge I can fulfill. That I will fight with every power within me. Success to me in 4 years and 14 years and in 40 years will be the governors of Tennessee and Indiana and Texas and wherever else wondering why their kids are coming to Kentucky for a job instead of the other way around. It is imperative that we choose wisely in this race. I will arrive, if you elect me governor, unbeholden to anybody. For some of you that's a good thing, for some of you that makes you nervous, but I'm telling you it's a healthy thing. There is not a person in this state that has been promised anything by me. There is no constituency that I'm beholden to at all. I will come with a blank sheet of paper. I will sit down at the table with folks like yourselves and folks who frankly don't even agree with you on things. I've made this clear at every turn. Ironically, I get attacked for saying I'll talk to Democrats and people who disagree with me. I happen to be a Republican. This race isn't about Republican or Democrat. There's Republican judges and Democrat judges in this room. Every one of you is struggling with the very same things. And we can wish that the money will keep coming, but it won't. That's the sad reality. So we've got to be honest with ourselves and say who of the choices you have is best able to lead this state in a fiscally responsible manner. We have the second worst credit rating of any state in America. We can't borrow our way out of this. Illinois has a worse credit rating than we do. That's it. We're the 6th least solvent state in America. And that's assuming that we actually hit 7.5% and 4% and these other assumed rates of return. The market's down 7-8% right now. I mean, the point is we're digging deeper into the hole. I don't come at this with my eyes wide open, or my eyes closed, I should say. They are wide open. This is something where quite literally, I don't need or want this job badly enough to sit here and blow smoke to you in order to get the job. I could sit here and tell you I've done this and I've done that and I'm going to do this or that, and if in your heart you know it not to be true, it's probably because it isn't. What I'm saying is we are going to have some tough times in this state financially. And the solution for the counties that are struggling right now is going to be stronger counties in other places that are going to carry the water for the state more than they have historically. And that's going to come as a result of making policies that affect our tax structure, our health care, our education. You can go to mattbevin.com. I'm not going to give you a full rundown of all those things. If you go to mattbevin.com, you'll see my blueprint for Better Kentucky. Take a close look at it. Be honest with yourselves about whether or not the solutions that are there relative to other solutions you're being given or not being given are things that will help us. I would submit to you that they will. The last thing I'll say to you is this. I pray for my children for two things when I pray with them at night. I pray that, first of all, they will know the difference between what's right and wrong, because it's not easy. We live in a world where it's mixed up and backwards. But I pray additionally that in addition to knowing the right thing to do, I pray that they will have the courage to actually do it. And this is my prayer for you. Politically, only you and God are going to know what you do in that voting booth. That's the reality of it. I pray that you will have the courage to do the right thing. That you will have the courage to do what needs to be done for this state. For your counties, for your families, for the families you represent, for all the families of the state, and frankly for America. Because Kentucky is blessed with things you can't buy at any price. We've got riverways and roadways, we've got geography, we've got massive resources of coal and of timber. We've got logistical hubs and things, and bending to the will of the EPA. Let's start standing on the advantages we have. Let's be the best version of who we can be. This is my vision for Kentucky. And I will lead on this vision like we've not seen for a long time from either party. Leadership starts by example. It's one thing I learned in the military. I'd be grateful for your vote and your consideration on November the 3rd. Thank you.